This is your Strawberry Shortcake read-along book. Every time you hear this chime, it means that you are to turn the page in your storybook. Now we are ready to begin our adventure into the land of fun. Open your book, and we will begin our adventure in Strawberry Land. Remember, when you hear the chime, turn the page.
It was a beautiful morning in the little kingdom of Strawberry Land. This was the happiest place in the world to live. Everywhere you looked, there were wonderful things to see. There was Sunday Mountain, capped with snow-white whipped cream and a bright red strawberry. Nowhere else in the world was there a babbling brook that was filled with strawberry soda. On every bush, there were juicy red berries. They were the biggest and the best in the whole world. Strawberry Shortcake had gotten up very early this morning. She went out and picked some of the reddest and ripest berries from the strawberry vines.
This morning, I am going to make the sweetest strawberry pies,
she said as she walked into her little strawberry house. All morning long, she was busy baking the pies. When they were done, she said to herself,
I'll put them on the windowsill to cool, and then I'll invite all my friends over for pie and milk.
The delicious smell of the freshly baked pies filled the air. Lucky Bug, who was a ladybug and a very good friend of Strawberry Shortcake, flew to the windowsill and gave a little. Strawberry Shortcake understood what Lucky Bug was saying and told her,
Thank you for saying that these are the best pies in Strawberry Land, Lucky Bug. I think this is going to be a very scrumptious day.
Now all this time, the peculiar purple pie man of Porcupine Peak was sitting in his castle thinking to himself,
I wish I had some pies to sell, but I just don't feel like baking today.
Pacing back and forth, he thought to himself,
There must be a way for me to get some pies and not have to do any of the work in baking them.
Then, through the open window flew the berry birds. The biggest of them let out a loud squawk. The peculiar purple pie man turned and asked,
What is it that you want?
The berry bird flew to the window and pointed his wings in the direction of the valley where Strawberry Shortcake's cottage stood.
What's down in the valley?
Asked the pie man. The berry bird squawked, ruffled his feathers, and pointed again with his wing.
Oh, you want me to look out the window?
So the peculiar purple pie man looked out the window. He looked and looked.
I don't see anything.
He sniffed the air and then said,
But I do smell something.
He took another whiff of the fragrant air coming from the valley below and said,
By Jove, berry birds, I think I smell berry pies. That delicious fragrance is coming from strawberry pies. Ooh.
He turned from the window and ran to the table. He threw aside the used pie plates, the dusty measuring cups, the spoons, and the funnels, until he found what he was searching for.
Ah, here it is. My old spyglass.
He ran back to the window, put the purple spyglass to his beady little eyes, and cried out,
It is strawberry pies. That lovely aroma is coming from Strawberry Shortcake's cottage. The pies look as if they are ready to be eaten. I must have them. I shall have them. But how? I shall think and think. I will find a way.
The peculiar purple pie man began to think.
I will have to come up with a clever plan, something worthy of a man of my good, sweet, and loving nature. The berry birds tell me Strawberry Shortcake is having a party for her friends. I must get the pies before they arrive.
During the rest of the morning, the pie man ran from room to room, thinking of a plan. Suddenly, the best idea he had ever had came to him. He called to the berry birds and told them,
I have a plan, a wonderful plan.
His beady little eyes gleamed with excitement.
I'm so clever. Let the others do the work, and I'll enjoy the pies. Come, berry birds. We have to get to Strawberry Shortcake's cottage, and fast.
The pie man jumped into his silly-looking purple wagon and made his way to Strawberry Shortcake's home. Meanwhile, Strawberry Shortcake was waiting for her friends Blueberry Muffin, Raspberry Tart, and Huckleberry Pie to come over for her little party.
I hope they get here soon,
She said to herself. Just then, there came a knock at the door. Strawberry Shortcake ran to open it.
Hello?
She said. When she saw the peculiar creature at the door, she asked,
Who are you?
I am Blueberry Muffin's mother, and I have come for a pie. She is not feeling well. Could you give me a pie to take to her?
asked the peculiar-looking old lady. Strawberry Shortcake said,
Of course I will. Here is the pie. Tell Blueberry Muffin that I hope she feels better very soon.
I will.
And with those words, the little old lady closed the door. Strawberry Shortcake sighed and said,
I must send Blueberry Muffin a get-well card.
Just as she sat down to write the note, she heard another knock at the door.
That must be Huckleberry Pie,
She thought to herself. When she opened the door, it was not Huckleberry Pie she saw, but a very old man. He said,
I am Huckleberry Pie's grandfather. He can't come over today, but he would like me to bring a pie back to him. He isn't feeling very well.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Here is the pie for him. I hope he will be better soon.
He will,
said the old man as he closed the door to the cottage.
I'd better write him a get-well card, too,
thought Strawberry Shortcake. She was just about to sit down when she heard another knock at the door. When she opened it, there was another peculiar-looking old lady at the door. She said,
I am Raspberry Tart's aunt. She cannot come to your party. Would you give me a pie to take to her? She is not feeling well this morning.
I will give you the last pie. Please tell her I'm sorry she isn't feeling well. I will write her a get-well card.
Do that,
said the old lady as she closed the door behind her. Strawberry Shortcake sat down and began to write 3 get-well cards to her friends, who had all come down with a strange illness. Suddenly, there was another knock at the door.
I wonder who that could be.
She ran to the door and opened it. There stood Blueberry Muffin, Raspberry Tart, and Huckleberry Pie. Strawberry Shortcake exclaimed,
I thought you weren't coming today. Your relatives said you weren't feeling well, and I gave them a pie for each of you.
Her 3 friends said,
We're not sick.
And no one in your families came here? No,
said Raspberry Tart.
then I must have been tricked. But who would do such a thing?
She asked. Just then, Strawberry Shortcake's pet cat, Custard, scampered up the path. She cried. Strawberry Shortcake said,
Look, she wants us to follow her.
The four little friends followed the cat down the path. They ran over Geranium Hill in time to see the peculiar purple pie man of Porcupine Peak sitting down under an old oak tree with strawberries pies.
We have to get the pies back from that lazy purple pie man,
said Huckleberry Pie.
But how?
Asked Raspberry Tart. The four friends began to think. Suddenly, Strawberry Shortcake said,
I have an idea. Come on, we'll have some fun.
The four friends enjoyed tricking the peculiar purple pie man. They picked 4 huge leaves from the berry plant and began to sneak up on the pie man. He was very pleased with himself.
All these pies are mine. I don't think I will take them to market to sell. They look so good, I think I shall eat them up myself.
Just as he was about to take a big bite out of one of the pies, he heard a strange voice. It said,
Shame on you for taking Strawberry Shortcake's pies.
The pie man looked all around. Then he saw the huge leaves moving towards him.
Who are
He
you?
cried out. Then another strange voice said,
We are the leaves of the berries that are in the pies. If you eat one bit, the berries will give you the worst tummy ache you have ever had.
But they look so good, sweet enough to eat.
said the pie man. One of the leaves said,
You should not take what is not yours.
I will not listen.
cried the pie man. Just as he was about to take a bite of the pie, the leaves began to sway back and forth.
You'll sound like this if you take a taste of any of these pies. You will have such a tummy ache.
The pie man looked at the leaves swaying back and forth and cried,
Stay away from me.
answered the leaves.
Not until you leave the pies and go back to Porcupine Peak where you belong.
The four friends behind the leaves began to make strange sounds. The pie man was so frightened that he ran away. He did not stop running until he reached his castle on Porcupine Peak.
I guess I will not get any pies today.
He thought sadly to himself. But in the valley, Strawberry Shortcake and her friends were having a party. She said,
Roses are red and strawberries too. I love the pies I baked. Didn't you?
her friends agreed, and Blueberry Muffin said,
These are well, they must be, I think, the best you've ever baked.
Huckleberry Pie said,
Too bad the peculiar purple pie man didn't get one of the pies.
I think I will send him one of the pies. He worked so hard trying to get them, and he's really not such a bad fellow. In fact, he is rather silly, and he does keep us entertained. We wouldn't have had such fun today if it weren't for him.
The four friends agreed, and the pie was sent to Porcupine Peak.
This has been another delicious day in Strawberry Land,
Said Strawberry Shortcake.
This is the very best place in all the